In this episode, John and Michael further explore the concept of how God is in everything, everywhere, and how this world is by design, not happenstance. They discuss personal experiences with faith and the importance of community and church. The conversation emphasizes to strengthen one's relationship with God, including prayer, reading the Bible, finding a supportive church community, and lastly, making sure you do it all with God in your heart and mind. Welcome back to another episode of My God, Your God. I'm John Emilio, along with Michael Camarado, and whatever we do it with God. Michael, how are you, my friend?
I'm very well, Mr. John Emilio. Yes, whatever we do it with God.
We do, absolutely. So a wise man told me that once, and it's stuck in my head. I use that everywhere now.
So do I. Live it,
Yeah,
learn it,
absolutely.
love it. So a lot of good stuff since the last podcast.
Okay.
Last podcast, I don't know if you guys listened or not, but you should. That was episode 6.
They better.
It was about the God code.
Yes.
How everything is so related to God through this code that he made, because it's known now, because I've watched so many videos since the last podcast, that God is the great mathematician. And this math is in everything natural.
Absolutely.
It's in our bodies, and regardless of our race, color of our skin, our nationality, our religion, that makes us different. But to God, we have this code that makes us all one.
Yes.
And a lot of people took that to heart.
Wow. Okay.
And
Good.
said, you know what? I could see this now. I want to mention a couple of people in this episode. One girl woman by the name of Lisa, who definitely has been listening to our podcast, but nothing hit her more than the last episode with this God code.
Okay.
And then she started to realize things. She's a Roman Catholic, so she does attend Roman Catholic church on Sundays.
Yeah.
And again, I'm not looking for people to change churches.
No.
But if it's not working for you, see, she got bored and she wants something different. She just wants to see God in her life. And she feels that going to the church that she's going to anyway is just kind of a repetitive, ritualistic motion thing.
Yeah.
You kneel, you stand, you get your communion. The priest reads from the Bible, which is good, but how does it intertwine with my life, So,
and it's important. Yeah.
She has definitely had her eyes opened from the God code, as well as another guy by the name of Joe, a good friend. He knows that I'm saying his last name's initial. He was the last guy to see me alive when I had my heart attack. We were out at a wake and he dropped me home, and that was the last anybody saw me alive. So, and here I am now. Anyway, he listened to the God code and he sees it now, although he was a big Christian way before I was, because I wasn't anything. And in fact, we worked together, and he said, Mike, how could you not believe in God? And it's not that I didn't believe in God. It's just that, you do your thing, I do my thing. And, the world is very peaceful, So is there anything you want to say before I have my 5-second rant? Well, it's not a rant.
I mean, no, the only thing I would touch on is what you said before about Lisa, and that she attends I guess it's a Roman Catholic church, you said. And it's no matter what church you go to, it could be Protestant, you could be Roman Catholic, it could be Lutheran. I mean, if people, those different denominations will get into arguments with each other, who's right, who's more right, who's not right. And I don't get involved in really any of that. For me, it's if you believe in God, you believe in Christ, that's the main thing, right? That's it. If you have that. And I think what she was saying was not that it was a Catholic church, but any church, if they become to wash, rinse, and repeat, but there's no actual relationship with God. And I think that's the thing where sometimes it does happen, unfortunately, where certain places of worship, we'll just say right now, churches, but any place of worship, whatever denomination you are, can become a certain way where they take the emphasis off of God and they put the emphasis more on do this, and not talk to him, pray to him, have that relationship with him, see him everywhere, know he's around you, know he's here in your life, pay attention to where he's working in your life. And there's not enough of that. So I was telling you before the show, me, a person who was brought up Roman Catholic, at one point walked away from the church for my own reasons, right? I was still a Christian at that point. I prayed for, and we talked about this on the show, but I prayed, where'd God throw me? God threw me. He didn't throw, he flung me back into a Roman Catholic church. Like, I asked for a tribe and he sent me one lock, stock, and barrel. Like, and this, he goes like, you going to go? Do you want to go here? But it's different at my parish where I go. And I'll say like, maybe her, and it's sad when like you go from one church to another and the experiences do vary so much. Where I am at Nativity of Our Lord here in Monroe, New Jersey, the people have relationships with God. You see it in their eyes when they speak. They're not just sitting here checking off boxes when these beautiful, and they are. Some of the rituals are very nice, and they have meaning, they have purpose, they have history attached to Christ and biblically, but they actually have relationships with God. And that, like, for me, that attracts me even more. I'm like, all right, what more can I do here? Like, how more can I get involved? Because these people really have that relationship. So, like, going back to what what Lisa was saying, that she might be looking to maybe go somewhere else, I could understand why. Because unfortunately, not every church, no matter the denomination, whether they're Catholic or not, or Orthodox or Lutheran or Protestant or whatever they are, and you get 2 or 3 or 4 or 5 of them, they can vary differently from one to the other, right? And sometimes it's like finding a good therapist. People looking for a therapist, you meet one, like, you're not seeing it, like, I'm not getting that relationship that I want, but you go somewhere else and it's like, boom, like this person, instant connection. So I wish her the best. And I wouldn't discourage her from running away. I would say, Lisa, don't run away from the church. Maybe that's not the parish for you. Go find one that maybe has more of a value and a mentality that you have. Like, I want to nurture my relationship with God. I don't want to just check off boxes and do beautiful things. So I'm done.
Nothing to do with it being Roman Catholic.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, it's just that she's bored with the ritualistic motions.
Gotcha. Yeah, and I get it.
And
Totally
I understand.
that, yeah.
And that God code thing kind of put things into perspective. I don't know how she heard it or how others heard it, but it's the glue that God gave us.
Absolutely.
If you could just put that in your head. So last week, month, whatever it was, we spoke about the God code being in the physical universe. It's in our physical body. It's everywhere. It's from the smallest atom to the universe.
Amen.
Now I want to go. I had a musician friend who wanted me to talk about something I've had forever. I've had it since I was, 5, 6 years old, that I knew I had it.
Okay.
It's called sound color synesthesia. I'm a musician. I guess you know that.
Yeah.
Maybe you don't
I
know
knew
that.
you were a musician. Yeah, I knew that. I didn't know you had.
I've been playing music, 40.
So what's this thing? Sound?
It's called sound color synesthesia.
Okay.
And even when I hear music, I see colors. I don't see them on the walls, but I see color in my head. And my musician friend wanted me to talk about, is this code something to do with the sound of music? The hills are alive. And you could edit that out.
No, I'm leaving that. I'm leaving that in. I am leaving that in.
The colors that I see in my head, I also see patterns. And I've been doing this long before I even cared about God. It was just something that always was.
Sounds cool,
something
actually.
It is, and that's how I am able to play music. I can't read music, which is very confusing to me, but I could actually play it by seeing the colors.
Wow.
And I thought it was just a regular thing. I thought everybody saw things this way. But colors have an actual wave form. And this waveform is a numbered form. The tune of a guitar, the tune of a piano. Each note buzzes in a certain amount of waves. So maybe you want to strum a guitar chord and you might hear, then this is for purely purpose of just instructional purposes.
Mm-hmm.
You see it raises 2, 4, 6, 8, 10. Those are the chords that you hit. One chord, the notes are going 2, 4, 6, 8, 10. It sounds beautiful. Some reason those numbers actually work. But if you have one string out of tune, maybe it's 2, 4, 7, 8, 10. Now you play the guitar, it's out of tune. Because there's a note that's not jiving.
Okay. Gotcha.
With the other notes.
Yeah.
So the waveforms are off. So sound is hugely coded with God's code because of how many times that string vibrates. And if it doesn't vibrate nicely with another, let's see, I tune another guitar 9. oh, it sounds great. But if I play it with a guitar that's 246, 810, both guitars together are going to sound like a cacophony of chaos. They're going to sound terrible because one is doing one thing, one is doing another thing, and they can't jive together. Solely, if they played, they'd sound fine. Yeah. Right. So that's God's code in sound. And even when I have my NDM or NDE, I guess, because there wasn't really a message, there was a hum, H-U-M.
Yeah, hum.
In case anybody didn't get that, there's a hum. And it just sounded like no instrument. It sounded like just, I can't say noise, because noise sounds like it's
annoying,
aggravating. Yeah. This was just like a steady, or like a drone. And it was just so pleasing. And this hum had all the right waveforms together to form this chord that worked. And it was something like I've never heard before. I have looked at some NDE experiences, and people have heard this hum.
Maybe you have heard it before, you just don't remember.
Yeah, that could very, very well
be.
When
you were in your mother,
Well, I was going to get to that. Listen, wait. So you're reading my mind now. I was just going to say code is not just with chords. Code is with rhythm. And this is where I'm going with the mom. Yeah. Rhythm, if I go, you could pretty much tell the rhythm and the tempo of the song. Yeah. And if I went, you know that's a faster tempo. Again, I'm not going to go some musicologist with this thing. But the space, the time between each clap
varies.
There's a time.
There's a time, yeah.
Nowhere is that. Now, when people play the drums or the congas or some kind of percussion, there's a timing to it. And that time is God's code, because code is God's time. Time is God's code. That's one and the same. The first time we ever heard code of rhythm was when we're in our moms, and I'm sure everybody was in our moms, unless you're a test tube baby. And no, then I think you're still in your mom.
You still need the oven. You still need the oven to be baked.
See much I know. Yeah,
you can't be baked without an oven. You can't make the bread without an oven. Nope. You need the oven.
The first sound we hear is rhythm, and it's our mom's heart.
Mm-hmm.
So that rhythm, and that there's a rhythm to it, because the timing, unless you have an AFib,
it could be a different beat.
Where you're beating like this, right? But all right, just appease me. So God's code is in chords. It's in the rhythm, especially the heartbeat. That's the first thing that actually gets us going. Our heart beats really fast when we're being developed, of course. But then, of course, it gets to the pattern it's got to get to. So I don't want to bore anybody. And if I already have, I apologize. But just keep in mind that God's codes are in the physical world, and it's in the world of sound. Completely. So that's God's code in a nutshell. And then I want to talk about how we possibly related. I want to talk about size just for a brief second. Size is really important. We're all programmed in our codes to be a certain size. Now, listen, I know some people grow to the incredible height of 6 feet.
Yeah.
I mean, that's up there, but we're pretty much all the same size. So how are we related to fruits and vegetables? God made them too, Mike. So why in the world, how are we related to them? This was so specific by an intelligent designer, as we know that's the good word now. If you're walking down an apple picking place, as we've done before, and you go pick an apple off a tree, the apple fits exactly in the palm of your hand.
Mm-hmm.
The size of the apple is perfect for us. It feeds us. It fits in our hand. It's the right size because God deemed it to be that size. A banana, a pear, an orange, a head of lettuce, a head of cabbage, broccoli. Everything is that size and enough for us to hold in our hand and consume. There's no fruits and vegetables as large as Mount Everest, because size is made for us. These things are made to feed us, and the size was there that God coded to make that size just enough to fit in, with our lifestyle, so we could eat it and hold it.
Absolutely.
And blah, blah, blah.
Gotcha.
So size, sound, code, get it in your heads. It's a designed plan that this God has put in place for us to live and eat and enjoy.
Absolutely.
Any take? I don't want to take up the entire time talking about this.
No. So everything you're saying, I mean, especially in a practical way to look at life, makes a ton of sense, especially for people who are on the fence about God or don't believe in God, or even people who are uber religious, right? And they go to church every Sunday and they're devout, whatever, Catholics or whatever they are. This still makes a ton of sense because we tend to, in life, forget that God is around us in everywhere. We think sometimes, and I know biblically, like, the way things are written in the Bible, and I'm, like I said, I'm reading the Bible and I love it. And I would implore anybody who's a Christian to do that, not to get answers, but to understand God even more. Because the things you're saying now make sense to me in kind of what I've read in the Bible. So if you read the beginning of the Old Testament, God gives specific architectural instructions on how to build things. Now, when I say specific, it is mind-numbingly boring when you're reading it. But I mean, I'm going, this is in the book of, it's got to be Exodus or Leviticus, Numbers, like a cubit. You need, and it's paragraphs upon paragraphs on how to build this tabernacle, or how to build the ark for the ark.
Yeah.
It is detailed. I mean, now we don't, we didn't do it. So, but I mean, it's pages and pages of information. Why would that be in a book if the designer, this divine being, this mathematical genius, or whatever, however he calls, words we use, right? Mathematical genius, the way he created this world that's in such symphony with itself and with us, like how everything works. He is putting it in a book for us to read, right? That's why I say, sometimes I say the Bible, no matter which version you kind of read, but no matter which one you read, you see God's plan that you're describing right now in size and in sound in this book. Like, you'll see it in the book. Like, that's why what you're saying makes even more sense to me as somebody who's actually read the Bible, who's reading the Bible and trying to get through it. I see God talking about his master plan. I see him talking about his mathematical genius and how to build an ark, or how to build a covenant, or how to build whatever it might be. Like, it's written in there. Now, going back to something you said earlier with the sound and how we say it's soothing. You had that soothing sound again. And this is why I like using the Bible as a reference, because people who are more structured religion are going to they'll like to hear that also, because like you could reference what you're saying and the way kind of you view God, and I agree with that view, and like what's in this book. King David, which was the greatest king Israel ever had. So King David, he was known for his songs. So there's a whole book called the Psalms, right? And the Psalms are mostly King David's songs, right?
Correct. Yes.
When King Saul fell out of favor with God I'm not getting into the whole story. He did something, fell out of favor with God, right? Samuel the prophet then went and found King David and said, this is going to be the new king, and brought him to King Saul. King Saul was tortured by demons that God allowed to torture him because of something he did. Only King David singing the music, the melody, would calm his mind. And that was done purposely by God. God allowed this music to calm him. So you think everything you're saying, if you never read the Bible, Mike, everything you're saying, I'm actually going into a book and I'm telling you it's in here. Like, it's in here.
Yeah.
Right?
Right.
Okay. Mm-hmm. So yeah. So somebody's out there who hasn't read it. There it is. Like, what you're saying with different words, right? And the size, the sound, the way he's in this code that's around us, which is words that for me, they definitely, they jive with me. Like, they make sense to me. But like, okay, devout Catholic, go ahead. Look what we're saying. Now you can find it in this book. For me, it validates it that much more. When somebody could come from a different point of view, using different language and different words, but yet describe the same exact thing, right? So, I mean, I find it amazing. Everything you said, 100% validated. Even if somebody's listening and going, yeah, I don't get, like, yeah, in sync, the music, the size, yeah, so an apple fits in my hand. Yeah, but it does make so much sense. It does. Why, if that apple was any bigger,
it's deliberate.
Exactly. It's done with intent. It's done with purpose. Yeah. It's not happenstance. It's not, well, it's just you. Things evolve to work out this way. Okay.
Now, are we the largest creature on the planet?
No.
Like a blue whale will swallow us whole.
Exactly.
But that's not the point. The point is our relationship to the things we eat that can feed us, that can nourish us.
That's the point.
Is exactly the size, then we could just pluck it off a tree and eat it because the size is correct.
Absolutely.
But it's held in our hand. It's just one way of trying to say of how this entire universe of natural things is connected. And it's exactly the way the designer wanted it to be. So don't take these things for granted. I know, yeah, you go pick an apple, you eat it, it gets brown in 2
That's
seconds
human
if you don't
nature.
eat it in 1 second. Yeah, it's all connected. So I just wanted to throw that out there. I had to finish the God code
Absolutely.
because it was like an unfinished dangling hook for me.
No need to justify
And I said, oh, no.
Yeah, man.
I just want to finish it off. So put that in your pipe and smoke it. So I wanted to get, as I said, another friend. His name is Joe.
Okay. Nice to meet you, Joe.
He was the one that was the big God Christian guy before I was.
Mm-hmm.
And I told him, you do your God, I'll do my quote unquote God.
Mm-hmm.
And just everybody's fine. Just let's do it in peace, until I realized he was 100% right because, I had to go through what I went through. Anyway, and what was killing me was when I did have the heart attack and these messages, I had to wait 3 years before I told anybody about it.
You were told to wait, right?
So for 3 years, I couldn't tell. And he was one of the guys I really wanted to tell, like, Joe, you are completely 100% correct. And I had to wait 3 years. And that was the test. I think you said it was a test.
Yeah.
And you were right. And finally,
Obedience.
the day it happened, I was able to tell him, yay, hooray. So anyway, his question was, okay, I got the God code. And I really, I could see things differently now. But what now? Now that we know this code, what do we do? He says, I'm already going to church, or when I can go to church, I go to church, whatever. What do we do now? And I made a list of the things I think we should do. But now what? If you're going to stick with the Catholic Church, a Protestant church, a Baptist church, I don't care. Doesn't matter.
No, stay with God.
So what now? I think number one, as I said, I think there's 4 things that
So
I wrote
you have
down.
4 things on your list. Okay, let me hear them.
Yes. And then we'll embellish.
There we go.
The first thing, pray.
Cool.
So what does praying mean? Getting down my knees and saying the Our Father and Hail Mary? No. Getting on your knees? Sure. But talk with God. You want to get your head and your spirit in God's head and spirit. Talk to him like you would speak to anyone else.
A mother, a father, or your best friend.
Yeah, you don't have to do, oh, thou, thou, there,
No,
then, okay. You don't need to do it. Speak the way you're able to speak so people could understand. So God, he understands you anyway.
God
So even
speaks.
if you pray without even speaking,
God
it doesn't matter.
God speaks Brooklynese. Don't worry about it.
Yeah, of course. Yeah, I hope so. Otherwise, we got problems. So, yeah, pray. I know you pray.
Yeah.
I pray all the time.
I pray multiple times a day, many, many times a day.
And now, what do you get out of praying? Like, why do you pray? Like, what for? What?
It's my way.
Is it a wish list, or
No.
is it?
Great that you just said that. You mind if I jump in, or you're going to keep going? You want to keep going?
No, that's a question for you, pal. That's
So prayer for me, it's not transactional, meaning I don't pray because I want something, because God doesn't want a transactional relationship where you only pray when you need things, or you have these expectation things. God wants you to pray so you transform into what he wants you to become. So for me, prayer is twofold. One is my way to stay connected with God and have daily conversations with him. Dear Lord, help me. I'm going to do the podcast now in a little while. Please guide me, watch my words, watch what I'm saying, send me insights, let me see things I don't see. And during the day, no matter what's happening, I'll pray, hey God, I'm about to do this, just show me the path. I trust in you completely. Those are my conversations with God. Like, your will be done. Whatever you want, I'm ready. Show me my next step and I'll take it for you. So for me,
right.
when I pray to God, I try to stay as close to him as possible. And no matter what the situation is, sometimes it's a shitty situation, but I try to stay close to him as possible. But I don't make the prayer about getting something, because God does not want to be an ATM. He's not there to be our transactional God. He's there to be,
right. We talked about that before. Right.
He wants to transform us. And the only way you could do that is if you surrender and accept him when you pray to him, and that transformation happens. So for me, I pray to God multiple times a day. It's to stay as close as possible, in a nutshell.
Yeah.
And sometimes
love it.
Yeah. Sometimes I'll throw a formal prayer in there, like 1 or 2 that for me, from my childhood, they feel comforting. Like, it's a comfort prayer for me. Right. So I like the Our Father. Yeah. So for me, I use that
wrong
one
with that.
But I don't just sit there and read a book and go,
right.
Exactly.
Right. That's the script.
Yes.
We don't want the script. We don't want someone putting words in my mouth. I want to be able to speak to God with my spirit and with my heart, my thoughts. And that's what makes it really personal because it's coming
Agreed.
from you. It's not
Agreed.
coming from the book.
Nope.
It's
Agreed.
coming from you. God knows about the book already. He wants to hear what you are thinking.
He wrote
And then
the book.
you'll get a response back.
Exactly. Yes.
And somehow you transition somehow. I don't know how this happens, but it does. It's quite amazing.
Amen.
So it's
True.
like a form of meditation that just gives you the superhuman being strength from praying, which
Yes.
is unbelievable.
Yeah.
So number 1, praying. Number 2, read the Bible. And if
True.
you can't read the Bible, now listen, I am public enemy number 1. The Bible is difficult to read.
Oh, yes.
It's not a good read.
No,
It's not a good,
it's not War and Peace.
you know what? I think I'm going to read the Bible. Okay. You got to go into reading the Bible with a really open mind and not preconceiving what you think it's going to say. The Bible's going to come at you and it's going to say something to you that you didn't think it was going to say to you. And then all of a sudden, there it is. And there's an
Wow.
answer to a question you had 30 years ago.
Yeah.
And here it is. Wait a minute. This passage, this is amazing. How could someone have written this 2,000 years ago, 3,000 years ago, whatever it was?
6,000 years ago. if you
And
were
they're
far enough back,
answering
yeah.
something, so it's timeless. It's like the honeymooners.
Yeah.
It lasts even today.
And it changes constantly when you read the Bible. For every person, depending on, we actually, I was at a meeting at my parish and I used to go, it's called Inquiry, where people who want to become Catholics and you meet with them anyway. We were talking about that. And that was one of the things that came up is how the Bible becomes personable it changes for every person. So I'm reading a passage. For me, it means one thing. For you, it means another. There's there's no one size fits all. It flows with the person and it's going to give you the message you need to hear as long as you're definitely open to it. But yeah, the Bible is, especially the Old Testament, the Torah, right? The original was called the Torah, could be.
The 5 books. Yeah.
Yeah, it is a difficult read, but like you said, read it with an open mind, not to understand it, but to be open to receive the messages that God's going to send you through it. And if you do that, you'll get so much out of reading it. Yeah.
You know what I suggest even? I think if you're gonna start reading the Bible, I would start with the Gospels, which is Matthew, Mark, Luke, and John.
Yep. Yeah. The New Testament. Correct.
Start that, and maybe you want to get an easy read version. Maybe you don't have to get the King James version.
Oh no, it's hard.
Because King James is written in Old English.
Yeah, it's difficult.
And you're going to read, 'twas brilliant the slithy toves. It's just going to get really confusing. And you're going to say, I'm not reading the Bible.
No.
I don't know what Mike and John said, but there's no way. The easy read version, it's pretty easy to read. And it's almost written like a book, like a regular novel. And it's much easier to read.
Yes.
And listen, if you don't want to read the Bible, you could listen to it. You got Bible apps on the phone. They'll read it to you.
There are it's
quite amazing.
Yeah. So I have the Bible app on my phone. And I started that way where it would read it to me. But even there, the Bible app, you could pick from one of the many versions. So like the one I read is called the Revised Standard Version. And it's basically so there's different versions of the Bible. So one will use the words that were intended to be used, right? Which could be a little bit difficult to understand. But remember, this was translated from Coney Greek and Hebrew to English, right? So when you translate something in Italian to English, if you go word for word, it does not make sense. You have to paraphrase it, right? So this in Italian means this. So getting an easy read one is a good idea because the message still comes across, even if some of the words, like in the Bible, they use the word fear God. But if you translate that word fear to its original translation in like Greek and Hebrew, it meant respect. It didn't mean fear as in fear, the wrath of, which is like
not right.
Because then there are words. So it's not about fearing. It's not about the fear. So that's why I say, when you read the Bible, don't get stuck on a word. You can be like, well, that's a hard word that they put in there.
Yeah.
Understand that there's a translation that's happening there, right? And you get a lot of messages as you read it.
Yeah. So you're going to find a lot of good answers that you weren't expecting when you read this supernatural. And I mean that in a different way than when you hear ghosts and goblins, the supernatural. I don't mean it like that. Yep. I mean it as being a supernatural book that was written over thousands of years. It wasn't like it was penned in one day, 2 days. It's thousands of years old, and it took thousands of years to write.
Yes.
So it's definitely a supernatural book with all the answers that we need to know.
Correct.
You don't need to know everything, but the Bible has everything we need to know. So number one was pray to God. You don't need anybody else.
No.
Pray right to God. You don't need, then number two was read the Bible.
Read the Bible.
Try to get an easy read version if you could.
Mm-hmm.
Here's number three. Get to a church. Now, I don't want to wake up Sunday mornings. I don't want to go to church. I got it. It makes sense. But if you get to a church, and I mean a Bible-based church, one that might have a pastor or a minister that delivers the service, because these pastors and ministers are married men. Well, I mean,
They
could be
have the
married
ability
men.
to marry. Sure. Understood.
They might have a family.
Yeah, most of
They
them do.
know what it's like to live in the life that we're living. They're teaching from the Bible. They're teaching human ways, human life. What do we do when I leave this church? Did I learn anything when I left this church today? Did I take that message with me, or was I just bored out of my skull? And a lot of people are like that, and I got it because I hear it all the time. Get to a different church. And you might not like the first biblical church you go to. I forget the Assembly of God. Assembly of God that's a type of church. It's a biblical church.
Mm-hmm.
You'll find them all over the place. It's not just in one area. But if you see Assembly of God, that's pretty much the church that I'm kind of talking about. And again, they could be different. You got to go check it out. You can't just assume it's going to give you all the messages. You might not like it.
No, not every.
And if you don't, go ahead.
Yeah, I'm saying because not every pastor speaks with the proper intent or discerns the
Right.
message of God properly. And a lot of them,
Right.
unfortunately, like with the Catholic Church, even those more biblical churches where they just have a pastor talking for 2-3 hours, reading Bible verses and discussing them, even they are swayed by human.
Of course.
What?
Of course, I know what you mean. I don't know what the word is, but you're right.
But they're swayed, they're swayed also, and they fall off course, and they don't, and what they do is they take their flock and they actually could draw their flock farther from God. So like you said, don't just go to one and say, okay, I'm here. This is the one. It might not be like your friend Lisa, right? That Roman Catholic church she felt like it was too, it's like, I'm not getting closer to God here. Then go find another one where you can get closer to God. Yeah. Agreed.
And if you can't attend church for whatever reason, maybe you got a family, or maybe you work. I don't know. Maybe you bring your family to church. I don't know. There's church online. You could go online and you could watch a service.
Live stream.
Of course, it's always better to go. Yeah. I mean, you have the internet. It's just so prevalent. Try to get to a Bible-based church. This guy's he's going to read the Bible. He's going to translate the Bible, and he's going to take that message. You're going to run with it when you leave the church. So that might help. So if you can't get there physically, but it's nice to be around the people. That's why I like to say, try to go physically if you could, because you get to hear like-minded people, and the church becomes
it becomes a community. So definitely try to find a parish or a church or a place of congregation that resonates with you. As a person who's brought up Catholic, I'm not going to sit here and tell you have to go to a Catholic church. I'm not. I could sit here and tell you reasons why the Catholic Church maybe it's very it follows the message of the apostles, right? So yes, it does. The Roman Catholic Church was started back at the days of right after Christ. Like these are the founders of the Catholic Church were the apostles. Beautiful, that's great. And all those rituals are beautiful. They have a place. They're beautiful. But you might find a person. I go back to your friend who says, I need more. And if that parish isn't giving you more, shame on that parish because they're not doing the job they should be doing by bringing you closer to God. If they're not offering you Bible studies, because Roman Catholic churches should have Bible studies where, as opposed to just a 1-hour mass during the week, you go and they break down verses of the Bible and you have discussions about it, and you get closer to God. So like find that one that resonates with you. You're going to walk in and you're going to look at the people and you'll know if this is where you're supposed to be. Like you'll know. That's why going is very important. Like you were just saying, the online one is good when you can't make it, but getting to a place of congregation is very important because the community there is what it's all about. Like that community of God, of people who see life like you and, have that relationship and want that relationship with God. It becomes it's what's the word I'm looking for? Yeah, it's strength, and it's infectious. Everybody around you just grows with it, you know. So yeah.
I agree.
And number 4.
So we had number 1 was pray.
Yes.
Number 2 was read the Bible or listen to the Bible, whatever.
Yeah.
3 was attend some kind of church or at least watch it online if you can't get out of your house. 4, whatever you do, do it with God.
We've ever heard that before.
We've said this. I think that must be the most quoted thing that we've said on these podcasts.
That's a good number 4.
So what does that mean? And we've gone through this before. I think we have anyway. Whatever you do, do it with God. Make sure that God is in your head and in your spirit with everything that you do, because this will maybe keep you from doing something that
stupid
maybe you shouldn't be doing. I'm not going to say what it is.
No, but I get
you. Maybe God's not watching me right now.
No,
I
hear
do
you.
this little thing I like to do. Whatever you do, do it with God and be conscious of it. Every minute of the day, when you got to make a decision, you got to go somewhere, you got to talk to somebody, you got to go to a meeting, you got to go to work. Do it with God. Everything that you do, when you're speaking with someone, make sure God's in you. That'll keep you from these, maybe somebody's arguing with you, but I could argue back correctly, having God with me. And I say, okay, I got your take on it, your opinion. God is with me. I'm not going to attack somebody and beat them over the head, because that's not God with me. Whatever you do, do it with God. No way. That wouldn't be that. So it's got to be something that you're consciously doing with God in your head and your heart and your spirit. So those are the 4 things. Pray, read the Bible, go to a church. Whatever you do, do it with God. And with that, I'm dropping the mic.
I'm dropping the proverbial mic. That last one, Mike, that last one is the bow on top of the present. It's that's the cherry on top for 100%. If all those other things before it, you could do them, but if you're not doing them with God in your heart, God in your mind, and God on your lips, if you're not doing it with Him in your life, you're doing them there. It's pointless, because then you just
1, 2, and 3 mean nothing. Unless you're doing number 4.
Unless you're doing number 4 and you're doing it with Him. People go, but how do I know if I'm doing it with God? You have that relationship with Him, you will hear Him guiding you and speaking to you. And I don't mean a audible voice. Like people, you hear God's voice,
of course, right.
But you will hear Him in intuition. You will hear Him in a feeling or a gravitational pull to do something or to act a certain way. It's not going to be a dialogue in your head. So you're like, how do I know if God's talking to me? I always say this: if you're talking to yourself, God's not talking to you anymore, because now you're the conversation. Like if I'm sitting there, go, well, does God want me to do this? Well, I really don't know. That's not God anymore. God's going to be like more.
Yeah.
No, that's not the way for you. That's the way for you. And He's not going to offer more than that. And then more will be revealed as you go. So, but when you're doing something, do it with the intent of this. God's with me, right next to me, right? And He's helping me, guide me. And you're going to just know what the proper path would be. I don't even want to say good or bad, because those are opinions, but what the proper path will be. But be warned, it's not always going to be the one that you maybe want to take. Like you might having a conversation with somebody, and now you want to argue your point, and you want to be like, I'm right.
Yeah.
That won't be doing it with God. God might be like, there's no need to have this argument right now. Silence might be the best answer. And you might know it, but you might not want to do it. You still might want to, I have to say what I have to say, but then you're not doing it with God, because God may be telling you right now, there's nothing to say.
Right. That's the most important one.
Yeah. I love that one. Yeah. That's great.
So man, good show.
Agreed.
And I hope other listeners get something out of one also.
Yeah.
Listen, I hope they get something out of all of them.
They will.
Yeah, it just people hear them differently.
Of course.
And again, people read the Bible differently.
Of course. Yeah, agreed.
People hear these messages differently.
100%.
But it all goes under one thing, is that we're all doing it with God, and we all have the code, and that's what we all have in common.
Amen.
Amen, brother.
I'm good. I mean, I think that was a great episode. Tons of information. I think people will get a lot specifically out of this one, because there was a lot of great things spoken about. So, amen. Yep.
Yeah. Great going.
All right.
So in closing, I have to say this: whatever you do,
do it with God.
I love it. All right. Until next time, people.
You got it, everybody.
Enjoy.
Yep. Peace out. Stay blessed.
Thanks for listening to today's show. We hope you get as much out of this as we do. Please remember to like, subscribe, and share to help us spread God's love. Don't forget, whatever you do, do it with God.